This is One Broke Gamer Girl, and this is my review of Life is Strange Before the Storm, Episode 2, Brave New World for the PlayStation 4. Because the first episode ended in such a fiery way, get it? Fiery because of the fire? Anyway, I was super eager to play this second episode, and did so the week it was released. Like a lot of people who are playing this game, I wanted to know more about Chloe before Max comes back into her life, and see what makes Chloe into the Chloe that you see in Life is Strange. I always wanted to see more of the developing relationship between Chloe and Rachel Amber. This episode not only delivered on it, but offers a little bit more of a mystery to it as well. Episode 2 picks up the morning after the events of Episode 1. It had to because of the way the first episode ended. This is a pretty important episode in the world of Life is Strange because this episode shows how Chloe got expelled from Blackwell and how it cements the relationship between Joyce and David because of Chloe's actions. You'll also get to see how Chloe got her oh-so-famous truck that she drives around town in Life is Strange, and there's a lot of foreshadowing of things to come in the episode. You'll also be able to get a little bit more involved with Rachel Amber if you choose to go in the relationship route with her, and you'll get a peek into her explosive home life and even more explosive personality. You'll also get tangled up with Frank in this episode, which probably leads to the life or death situation that Chloe finds herself in when you start off Life is Strange. All of this accumulates into another cliffhanger ending that will make you want the next episode to be released as soon as possible. What if? What if instead of going the way that this game seems to be going, what if it was done differently? I don't normally do this type of thing because games are made a certain way because that's just how it is, but I was thinking that instead of the story that this game is telling, what if each episode was done by year? Hear me out here. This game takes place 3 years before Max comes back to Arcadia Bay. There are 3 episodes. 3 being the key here. Each episode could have showcased a year in the life of Chloe and Rachel Amber leading up to Rachel Amber's demise before Max re-arrives in Arcadia Bay. Just a thought. It doesn't mean that I don't like the way things are going now. It just means that maybe this game could have been handled a little bit differently. So I'm kind of split on this episode because I really want to love it as much as I love the original Life is Strange game, but part of me was just bored with it. I think this has a lot to do with the fact that I feel like I have to play Chloe a certain way. I mentioned that in my last review, and this is probably just a me thing. Anyway, the episode was a little long in my opinion, and it wasn't all that exciting. You see Chloe becoming more of the Chloe that she is in Life is Strange, and while that's great, it's also not so great because you already know this. Maybe it's just me. Anyway, I did enjoy the foreshadowing that took place in this episode, and it's probably the most thought-provoking part. Although Rachel Amber is basically put on a pedestal in Life is Strange because of her disappearance, in this game you can see her basically for what she is, which is kind of two-faced. She's basically a born actress, meaning that she's phony. At this point, I kind of regret making her and Chloe more than just friends because I feel like this kind of leads Chloe down an even darker path because she's willing to do anything for Rachel. Don't get me wrong, though, because I'm a huge Pricefield shipper and have always been one, but I just feel like Rachel isn't right for Chloe. The playability of this episode is the same as the last episode, which means that the controls are still a little wonky. The walk around and looking around thing is weird and doesn't always respond properly, and it just makes the game a little bit more frustrating to play at times. Other than that, I had no problems with the game. I do have to say I kind of missed the rewind time thing. I know it's Mac's thing, but sometimes it just feels like I should have made a different decision than the one I did, and if I had the rewind time power, I could have. Anyway, this game isn't about that, so that's on me. I will say that using Chloe's sarcasm is tricky at times because you really have to listen and you have to pick up on key words that the other person is saying to use it against them. It's a fun little puzzle to solve, but it's time limited, so you have to think on your feet. The graphics for this game are the same as they were in Life is Strange and the first episode of this game. They aren't bad graphics, and they're more cartoonish style, which is fine with me because it's what they did in the first game. Like I said before, the graphics are just there, and they're nothing really to write home about. Finish this episode and graffiti your way through town again in order to get yourself another 11 trophies closer to the Platinum Trophy for this game. The graffiti this time around was a little more trickier as I missed 4 of them, even though I looked just about everywhere and did a ton of exploring. It wasn't a problem going back, though, through collectible mode and finding which ones I missed so that I could easily get all of them. There is, of course, no multiplayer for this game, and there doesn't have to be. Overall, I give this episode a 3.5 out of 5. Here's what's great about it. This episode doesn't leave you wondering and picks up right where the first one left off, showing you how Chloe gets expelled from Blackwell and how she gets her truck. You'll also get an inside look into the life of the Ambers, and it shows that they just put on a front just like a lot of people do. Not to mention the foreshadowing in this episode is strong and thought-provoking. Here's what's not so great. A different side of Rachel kind of comes out during this episode, and it's a little unsettling. Also, the controls are a little wonky, and moving around and even looking around aren't as fluid as they should be. Even though this episode got a little bit of a lower rating, I'm still looking forward to seeing how this game wraps up. I seriously don't think that 3 episodes is enough because it only shows a short glimpse into what's going on with Chloe and Rachel Amber, and not the whole story. This might change in the last episode, but I kinda doubt it. Anyway, it'll be interesting to see what the last episode and the farewell episode have to offer. I'm going to say that if you're a Life is Strange fan, that you've probably already got the whole deluxe edition for this game and are happily playing it. If you held off on getting this game, I would say to hold off a little longer until the full game is released and go from there. If you're not a Life is Strange fan, I'm going to say to skip this one because obviously you didn't like Life is Strange. Haven't played either game, then I'm going to say to just stick with Life is Strange for the moment because that game is awesome.